Welcome to
MIA2K,
your ticket from Miami to Seoul.
We're Kathy and Laura, and we're so happy you could join us today.
You probably know us from, just kidding, you don't know us yet. We're just two Miami girls with obsessive fandom tendencies who fell into the inescapable void of Korean entertainment. And we're here to share our insights and spill all the tea only grown fans like us can enjoy.
We've done all the research and acclimating so you don't have to. Before we begin, please make sure you're following us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you love visuals like us, you can watch us on our YouTube channel. We drop episodes with our hot and sunny takes every week.
Hi, everyone. So today's episode is going to be covering a maybe not so controversial, but could be a little bit topic. We want to explore how the South Korean music entertainment industry is filled with a hip hop influence starting in the 90s-ish. And most idol groups today have at least one rapper, or in most cases, someone who can rap, question mark. It's definitely not the same thing. So we want to explore our observations about the rap and hip hop prowess in the idol industry, and also just talk about a little bit of the difference between the K-pop and K-hip hop / K-rap industry. So listen and enjoy, or watch if you're on YouTube.
We just want to make sure that you guys know that really everything we're going to be talking about today, except for a couple of facts, a couple of, history, is mostly our opinion. Personally, I am not a musician. I am not a dancer. I am not a performer. I'm barely an adult. So truly, my opinion matters for nothing. But I just think it's kind of a fun topic to talk about. I mean, I think anybody who's lived in the 2000s can have an opinion on hip hop music and rapping, because for the most part, it has been a huge influence on everybody and everything. So
totally agreed and retweet to what Laura just said for myself as well.
So with that, Kathy.
So when we think about K-pop idols and rap and hip hop and its influence today in the South Korean music industry, it all really started in the 90s with a group that I'm going to butcher the name, so please forgive me, but they were called Soteji and the Boys, and they revolutionized the music scene in South Korea at the time, doing some sort of commentary on injustice and social issues in general. And they were very heavily influenced by hip hop. It was one of the genres that they included in their music. They had fusions, including rock and techno and other genres, but I think the hip hop influence was one of the most heavily felt from them. And I think at that time, there's a lot of articles and mentions of how people started dressing like them, and there was a whole kind of cultural shift about how hip hop was cool. It's hip to be hip hop. So that really kind of started the waterfall that led to where we are today. And it's just important to kind of mention and give them their flowers because they really started it all.
Mm-hmm. This is truly just based on my opinion. I think at the very beginning, like with everything, you're kind of taking influences and sort of mimicking or trying to emulate. But I think at the point where we are right now, though some still try to emulate and mimic, I think it has become like maybe a genre of its own, like K-hip hop and K-rap.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about something that shouldn't be controversial, but can be depending on who you talk to. What is the definition of a rapper?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the crucial topic that we're going to cover in this podcast episode in particular is what's the difference, if any, and I think you know the answer from our side at this point, is there between idol rappers and rappers in idol groups? So yeah, I don't know, Laura, if you want to start with how you think about rappers and what makes a rapper to you and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I did a little bit, like minuscule amount of research. I'm not even going to lie or front. And I saw this article on Wikipedia.
Listen, I think Wikipedia pulled all of us out of really bad stumps in college and high school. So shout
For
out to
sure.
Wikipedia.
Hell yeah. They defined rap, and to me, also rapper, as having three components, which would be content, flow, and delivery. And I think it makes a lot of sense. So for content would be whether the rapper or the artist writes their own lyrics. The flow would be depending on what they're writing, how they choose to structure it. And then the delivery is just the performance, the swag. So for me, those three are pretty good requirements of being a rapper.
Yeah, I totally agree with Wikipedia and with Laura that the first prerequisite that you need in order to be recognized as a rapper is to write your own music. And I think that's one of the points that we'll see later down the line, that we don't see artists as rappers because they don't write their own music.
Yeah. I mean, I think a big part of it, of rap, is telling a story, a personal story, whether it's fucking hoes and spending money, or whether it's about, social commentary and some, serious topics, and bringing light to racism or whatever it is that needs to be brought into light.
Yeah,
It's still telling a personal story. So,
totally. And another thing for me personally, this is not research backed or anything, just from my exposure to idols today, I would say rappers have like a specific swag about them. The way they talk or the way that they do things just has like an attitude, or I don't know, there's something attached to it that involves their personality and their approach to things. And also, because we do follow a lot of groups, when the groups have hiatuses or when the artists have time to do projects on their own, if you're a rapper in the group and then you also do rap in your solo work, I think that solidifies that you are indeed a rapper. I think there's a couple of groups where we see the rappers rapping only on the group activities, and then for their solo work they do like talk singing or singing if they can sing. And I think that differentiates a lot. That's when you can really tell if someone's truly passionate about it or not. So I wanted to talk really briefly about Jay Park in this section for two reasons. Number one, Jay Park started it all for me. He was the one that opened the door to the world of Korean entertainment to me with his incredible swag, and Mome is forever like national anthem to me. So
iconic.
and the reason why I really wanted to bring him up, I really do think he is 100% the definition of an idol and a rapper. I think he does both. I buy both from him. He was an idol when he started with 2PM, and then now that he makes music on his own, he goes in and out of singing and rapping, but he definitely writes his own music. And I think he has the delivery and the flow of a rapper. So I just think he's an example to many people in the industry that probably want to follow in his footsteps. And there's a little bit of a blueprint there to be followed. So I just wanted to name him as an example of someone who is and can do both and doing it right.
He was also what started it for me when I first got into Korean entertainment. I started with webtoons, and then I transitioned into K hip hop and rap and R&B because I was heavily listening to reggaeton before. So that switch from reggaeton to like K hip hop and K rap and R&B wasn't such a big jump because K-pop is really a whole bunch of genres. Really, I think the only reason it's called K-pop because it came from Korea, or like the singers are Korean, because there's so many genres, you really can't define K-pop as a genre. So for me, he was kind of the bridge between my reggaeton life and K-pop.
Absolutely. And I think also might be worth mentioning that there is a difference between the rap that we get from K-pop idols and the K hip hop and K rap circle. There's artists who are dedicated solely to the craft of rapping and incorporating hip hop into their music repertoire. And I don't think people who are on the outside, like I was over a year ago, know that distinction. So I think it's important to say that as well.
Yeah, truly, again, the only difference between KR&B and R&B is the fact that the artist is Korean. The influences are the same. The sound is the same. It's just a different language. It's completely different worlds. They are managed and they represent themselves basically like Western artists. There isn't really any difference there. For Jay Park, his main lane is hip hop, really, and rap. Because if you take his English music, that's hip hop. It's rap. Just because his name is Jay Park and he's Korean.
Right.
And he sings about soju instead of Hennessy.
Facts.
That's it.
That's literally it. Yeah. So now that we covered a little bit of the history and why we're having this conversation in the first place, it's time to take a look at some of our favorite idol groups and look at their rap lines and determine whether they are idol rappers or they are rappers in idol groups. We are starting with BTS just because we know the most about their music library, I would say. So just worth mentioning really quickly, BTS did get formed and start out as a hip hop rap group. That was what they set out to do musically. And they did form the group with 3 very strong rap able people. So that was their main focus at the beginning, even though 3-4 years later, they kind of switched more into we can do whatever we want. And it went very poppy, but they still deliver heavy hitting raps and hip hop music.
Let's just start by like members in the rap line.
Right.
So let's start with the easiest one. RM, he's a rapper. Period.
Absolutely. He's a rapper in an idol group. There's no question about that. He was an underground rapper before he started at BTS, before he was Rap Monster, he was Runch Rhonda. He definitely got into underground rapping and his lyricism is off the charts. So no discussion there.
He appreciates the culture. He understands the culture. Suga, I think personally, he's a rapper. However, he's a producer first, then a rapper.
I agree. And it might hurt my soul a little bit to agree, trying to be objective here. But yeah, I think Suga came up in the music industry by making beats. I think he's extremely proficient at it. And he really has a great ear for knowing what's mainstream and knowing what hits. And he also knows what kind of music he wants to make. I think he was kind of swimming in the environment and he did fall naturally into it, but I agree that his production and producing chops are his main skill that he brings to the table. Even though I love his delivery and I love his rhythms and I love the way in which he changes his voice to change the energy of the verse, I think he has a lot of talent for it. But yeah,
I agree. He's definitely a rapper, but I think his biggest gift is producing. And I think one of the main reasons why BTS sounds the way that BTS sounds is because of him.
And it's worth mentioning, BTS does work with a lot of producers, P-Dog, Slow Rabbit, a lot of very talented producers. But I do agree with Laura that Suga does have a very heavy hand and he starts a lot of drafts for them. He does a lot of the guides and a lot of the top lines and the melodies. I think he does a lot of that.
Now, J-Hope. We had a kind of interesting discussion on J-Hope because to us, J-Hope is a dancer first. And then we were like, is J-Hope a rapper? Which we know, controversial. In our hearts, we're like, should we even be saying this? But we concluded that J-Hope is a rapper. And how did we get to that conclusion, Kathy?
So the way I see it and the way that we talked about it is I don't think J-Hope had a from birth interest in rapping. When he auditioned at Big Hit, he auditioned as a dancer and then he got into this dorm with 20-30 trainees who were freestyling all day, which to me, like if you put me to freestyle, it gives me so much anxiety. Thinking of a J-Hope who was so shy at first from what he says, entering a dorm on December 24th, Christmas without his family and his anxieties and everything and going into that environment must have been really scary, but it put out a great product, which is what we have today. So with him, he starts his raps from a musical feeling in his body, I think is the way that we were talking about it. He probably feels the music first. The way that he writes his raps and cadences, it's a roller coaster that he brings you on. And it's a really just fun experience.
It's part of rapping is rhythm, like what we were talking about at the very beginning. I think he focuses on the rhythm and the delivery more than the content. And I think a lot of current rappers, like in the West, also tend to do that, where it's not so much content, but more the delivery and the flow to it.
I agree. And one of the things that we've seen on Twitter and in general in the ARMY and music sphere, when people talk about the raps that RM and Sugar write, they're extremely personal to them. J-Hope has a more of a rose-colored glasses look at the world, and he just wants to talk about situational things. Even though he does tap into his feelings, it's very different the way that he writes and what he talks about in his music.
We were actually a little surprised that we love the song, but we didn't want to really say it because, and this is nothing to do with the music, it's just I like leaders and Sugar is Kathy's bias.
Yeah.
But J-Hope's verse, his bars in just hit so good. Like
we were in the car, so we were together last weekend, and I had been wanting to, like, you know, when you have to confront someone and you have to tell them something that you don't want to talk about. I literally was like, Laura, I just have to say this. I don't know why this is taking over me the way that it is, but for me to like admit that my favorite verse in a song isn't Sugar's, even though Sugar's is perfect and it sounds amazing, but J-Hope's verse, the way he just like, I don't know how to explain it, what it makes me feel. Just listen to and look at the videos and just enjoy it, because the way that, you know, he sings, the way that he dances, and it comes out through his face and his pores, like he really feels that music. So all of them hit. All of them have a completely different approach. When they did Thing in 2018 and in that homecoming party, it was like, first it was J-Hope. He had the least intricate verse, but it was still like a great introduction. Amazing. Then came Sugar with a little bit more of a hard-hitting philosophy, and you know, he introduced a couple of his different flow techniques that he has with songs. And then came RM, who decided to do like spoken word, and it was incredible to watch the audience just quiet down to hear him, because he kind of starts his verse whispering and then he delivers. I saw this like breakdown of what Thing is about, and he used that word in 7 different ways in 7 seconds or something like that. Like, he's a master, he's a wordsmith. So there's just something about each of their styles and the way that they work together so well also.
And honorable mention to Angry Jin, who is a rapper when he's very angry.
Angry Jin is the best rapper in BTS, hands down. I don't think anyone has ever rapped faster bars than when Jin gave a gift to RM of like wet wipes and beef jerky, that RM was like, the fuck? What kind of gift is this? And Jin's like, bitch, I saw you like the jerky in Japan, so I gave it to you, and you always break shit and drop shit, so I give you the napkins. And the way all the members just like fell apart with that delivery, because it was just great.
티슈도 너 맨날 흘려가지고, 야, 너 이거 잘 닦으라고 내가 물티슈도 샀는데 나한테 어떻게 그럴 수가 있어? 얘는 진짜 좋아하는.
And also, anytime the song Loner plays, whether they're in the car or in any sort of karaoke situation, it's Jin's song.
So moving on to Stray Kids and their subunit, I guess you could call it, Sriracha.
So again, these are our opinions, so take it with a grain of salt. We feel very strongly, both of us, that Bangchan is an incredible musician, a stellar composer and lyricist, a great producer, a great singer, a 360 holistic artist, but he's not a rapper. He can rap and he does it well. But when we look at him and when we hear his music and his bars and his verses that he does as a rapper, it doesn't come across as coming from a rapper.
It's like in Kingdom, in the Mayfly, he was part of the rap unit, right? And it, you know, it made sense. But when they created the song and they performed it, for me, his part was the least impactful. It wasn't, I mean, it was great. It was just kind of like high to okay to oh my god again. So it was a lot. It wasn't my favorite in the group. Not that it was bad, it just wasn't, it didn't hit the same way.
Now that you're saying it, and I'm just trying to think of it, I don't think Bangchan has a distinct rap style. I think that's part of it. I think
Maybe
he just raps. He knows what to do. He knows how to deliver the lines and the musicality of it, because he is, at the end of the day, a producer, lyricist, and everything else.
Yeah, so if we go to the very beginning, I think he has the content. I think he has the
delivery, but not the flow, or the other way around.
Yeah, I think he might have the delivery because he is a good performer, and like he has that swag when he's delivering his lyrics, but then the flow isn't the same. His just has like a, maybe there's like something missing, like the salt or the pepper or the sazon. Like
he's missing Goya in his life.
Yeah, like something. Again, I know nothing, so
yeah, we don't know anything. We're obsessed with him, like legit. Please don't misinterpret us as not appreciating him for what he does and is, because he trained for 7 years and it shows. He has innate talent and he clearly was meant to do this. He was born to be an artist and to be an entertainer. It's just, you know, when he sings beautifully. He's a really good deliverer of feelings through music and through singing. But his rapping, even though it's fine, doesn't make him a rapper.
I agree. I think he's one of the most talented fourth gen idols.
I agree.
But that doesn't make him a rapper, like you said.
Right. Now, an actual rapper in Stray Kids, and my personal bias that I'm just not going to stop gushing about, is Changbin. So what I like about Changbin's story reinforces that sometimes you don't even know your own strength or your own power until someone brings it to you. Changbin was training to do singing because he can sing. He actually has a beautiful singing voice. And then his vocal coach was like, why don't you try rapping? And, you know, because he could tell that he had great vocalization. And then to me, it's mind blowing to think that Changbin wasn't just like spitting raps like on the daily with his ability, but he just like didn't know what he could do at the time, I guess. I think there's this whole conversation that we're having today within the industry of whether or not idol rappers can actually cut it outside of their idol groups. And Changbin decided to take matters into his own hands and audition for Show Me the Money, which is one of the biggest rapper mining shows in Korea. And he made it through the first cut. So I think he got the validation that he needed from the industry that he could do it. I don't think he needed that. And I think that was more for promo for Stray Kids and more people to get eyes on them in general, because he also did The Masked Singer to show that he could also sing. So my man is just talented. But I really, one of the most viral contents of him is while he was a trainee, he did Matryoshika with Han. And oh my God, like the way that the whole room goes wild when he's like, Matryoshika. Oh my God. And he's just so great. And there's a lot of back and forth going on for the past like yearish, ever since Kingdom, that talks about whether or not Changbin raps on beat. And people have come to defend him. People that actually know about music have made entire videos about it.
In terms of that particular topic, I think Changbin just has his own, even when he's offbeat or whatever, it still sounds, how do I explain it? Like
it's for a reason. Like it's intentional.
I think that's what makes it different than people that actually can't keep a beat. Like
yeah. Well, and also when this whole controversy unquote started that he was rapping off beat, it started during Kingdom, and he explained like he did it on purpose because people were going to question and have been questioning whether or not he's rapping live. And just imagine what kind of ear you have to rap off beat yet stay on the beat that you're on, to be off beat to show that you're doing it live. That takes skill, because I would get lost in the middle of it and like just slip
For
back
sure.
into the rhythm. So that's just more testament to his skill set and being an actual rapper in an idol group.
Mhm. For me, moving to Han, for me, Han is the perfect rapper and idol because he can sing, he can dance, he can rap. I mean, he is a rapper in an idol group, but like he's everything. He's like good at literally everything. It's kind of annoying.
It really is, because it just looks so effortless too.
Yeah. Like I've heard him like just well when Three Racha sometimes does B lives together, they decide to like freestyle sometimes. And like, are you kidding me? Sometimes I'm like, how does this come out of your head? Like,
At that speed.
what?
Totally agreed.
Yeah. So for me, I think he's a rapper in an idol group because he has all the three things that we've been mentioning: content, flow, and delivery.
Agreed. I
Mhm.
actually really like Han's flow and
Yeah.
delivery. I
Mhm.
think sometimes I also have that struggle of maybe sometimes liking Han's verse more than I like Changbin's,
Mhm.
because Han just has this way of, even Changbin has said it, Han is more precise with his rap.
Mhm.
And he even looks up to him in that way. But it's just, they just have very different styles at
Mhm.
the end of the
Mhm.
day. And Hans is great. I'll say the only thing is Han has dropped some solo music here and there, and it's not typically rap, it's singing,
Mhm.
but it doesn't make him any less of a great rapper. He really
Mhm.
is amazing.
I think with that is when he's with Stray Kids and in their songs, he's really not allowed to show his vocal skills
Yeah.
because there's other members and their songs can only be 3 or 4 minutes long. Like, so I think maybe that's why when he releases solo songs and music, he chooses to sing more than rap. But for me, like going back to what you were saying about Changbin and Han, for me, Changbin has more of like an underground feel with his rap. Like every time he raps
100%.
in songs, it feels like a little bit underground. Han is more mainstream. Like his raps are more easily like digested.
Digestive.
Does that make sense? So
Totally.
I think that's why more people maybe resonate with Han than Changbin. But so Ateez, the rappers, like, is that even up for discussion?
No,
Like,
it's really not.
it's
Yeah.
they just so happen to be beautiful and dance well.
Literally. Yeah. Hongjoon, the leader, you could tell how much of a hand he has in writing all their music, and he has great delivery, great stage presence, and you can tell he's a rapper. There's no way in hell he's ever like a singer. There's
Mm-mm,
just no, that's just not a thing. And Mingi,
mm-mm.
you can please go ahead and just fall on a slide talking about Mingi.
I won't. I won't. But Mingy's the same. He has the three the same three things we've been talking about. He has the content, the delivery, and the flow. Like he's just good. When he and Hongjoon get together, like I said it in the 80s episode, even though their lines might not be in terms of line distribution, they might not be have the most lines, their verses are always the most impactful. Always, always, always. And I think that's because they write good lyrics, they
Yeah.
know how to deliver it, and they have good flow.
Yeah. And I also like that today with rappers, there's a lot of ad libs. There's a lot of, with producers, their tags and stuff. When Mingy starts singing, he doesn't say like Mingy. He says, like, he found a way to tell you to focus on him without telling you to focus on him. And that's just a lot of swag. And I love his voice is so distinct. And the
Yeah.
way that he just spits fire, it's the way that he raps is just so good. I really am very, very positively impacted by Mingy's rapping.
I enjoy every time he has a part in the song. And
Yeah.
and it's I actually look forward to his and Hongjoon's
Yeah.
verses the most.
Yeah. And I think they
That
split themselves well with having so many
yeah,
vocalists and stuff. I think they give us
yeah,
a rap at the best part.
yeah.
So,
It's literally the highlight to every AT song, both of them.
agreed.
Period.
So now, and this is Monsta X.
I think Ju Honey is such a good rapper. He has the content. He writes his own raps. He writes lyrics for Monsta X in general. He has the flow and he has the delivery. And he can sing. Like
I really can.
Ju Honey walked So Han could run, let me tell you. Like, oh my God. He is so talented. I believe Honey was also in Show Me the Money. And I think he made it past the first round too. I think he might have made it even to the second round and got kicked off on the third, which, like Kathy was saying, is pretty hard because rappers in idol groups tend to have a really bad reputation within the rapping community in Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, even in general. So
something really heartwarming about him is that I think in an interview, somebody asked, I don't know if they asked IM, but IM was the one who answered the question. They asked if Juhani was a better singer or a better rapper. And IM answered that he was a great artist, that he can do both. And you could tell how touched Juhani was from that comment. And he was just like, oh man, like that really touched his soul. I think he definitely resonates with rap more. I think in his solo work, he has a good mix of both. It's more of a rapping body of work.
Now we have had, I wouldn't say heated.
No, but they've been back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah, and they've been long discussions. We live in Miami, and sometimes I have to go to a project in Boca, which is, 45 minutes without traffic. But when there's traffic, it could be 2 hours. And we have sometimes spent those 2 hours going back and forth on whether IM is a rapper. We have concluded, because of Kathy's strong opinion, and I have to agree with her because I'm backed by absolutely nothing, that IM is a rapper.
Yeah, I have a very hard time with this one because Lord knows I cannot be objective about IM. I just love him so much. And when we start with that, I'm just honest. I'm accepting my lack of objectivity and my inability to can with him. So I think I when I saw No Mercy, which was the reality show, the survival show that put Monsta X together, IM came in the middle of the competition because they said that they didn't have enough rapper competitors. There was another guy that was really good. His name was Gun. And he was basically Juhani part 2, but they had very similar rapping styles. They could volley off each other really well because they were basically the same. So it didn't make sense to have the two of them on the group. When they brought IM in, IM really has this quite distinct way of rapping that I wouldn't say is great, but it's distinct. He knows, like for himself, he knows what he's doing. He also lyrically contributes to the group. And from when they were trainees and from the show up until now. So I do think he has a lot of influence in the group's songwriting for their Korean music. I don't think he has enough an input for their English music. And then for the delivery, I have to say both Laura and I are not very into his delivery. So I don't know. There's just something about it. Again, he's my bias. Like I'm not even like anything he makes, I eat up. Like it's fine. But I'm not super convinced by his rapping. With that said, the reason I'm pushing so hard for him to be taken seriously as a rapper is because I do think he has the rapper swag and the approach to music.
Yeah, to me, he reminds me of Post Malone. Not to compare anything, but it's that kind of rapping, singing sort of situation where you're not really sure what you're listening to, but like you still like it. Like I personally loved IM solo album that he put out last year. It was great.
Agreed.
But it wasn't
it's not hip hop. It's not
rap.
Rap.
It felt very Post Malone-ish.
He does like R&B rap. It's like some sort of fusion. It's like emo R&B rap. That's IM's style, I think.
It's hip hop.
Hip hop vibes.
Yeah.
I think his rhythm and the way, like, when you think about Goddamn, I wouldn't go introduce him as like, hey, listen to this rap album. Like I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't say it like that. But anyway, with all of that said,
we also can't say he's a rapper, an idol
rapper. Yeah, no, he's better than an idol rapper.
He's a rapper.
And there was a TikTok going around the other day from a girl who seemed to know her shit, and she said that he was a rapper in an idol group. So that was the last drop that I
Strong.
needed a validation to be like, I stand my ground. My man's is a rapper in an idol group.
Yes. And I had to agree. I had no other choice. Because he's not bad. He's pretty good. It's just I think out of the three things that we were talking about, maybe his flow isn't.
Yeah.
But it's not like Bangchan where
No. Because
It's
again,
different, it's
IM has
different.
a very distinct, like he has his style. Yeah.
It's just maybe it doesn't resonate with us.
That's what I was
Maybe
gonna
that's
say.
what it
Like,
is, yeah.
just because whether or not you're a rapper, there's also a thing of taste.
Mhm.
So maybe we're just not in tune with his delivery.
Yeah.
Just fine.
It's okay. We all
Yeah.
have opinions and we shouldn't be afraid to say them.
And with that spirit,
We are about to get controversial up in here, right?
I mean, sure. It depends on who's listening.
That's
We're
true.
going to now go into the territory of what we think are mostly idol rappers, which means they can typically pull off rapping, but in our eyes, they're just not the total package.
Mhm.
And in these groups, you can tell that there's a difference in the fact that the rappers don't necessarily have such a big impact in the music of the group.
And let's start with that with GOT7. If I can start.
You can start. And then
There-
just a disclaimer to all Agasas, like we are ourselves very big fans of GOT7. We like these members and we are just providing what we think is our objective opinion. And we hope you whether you agree or disagree, do so respectfully in the comments or wherever you want.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. So in my Spotify 2021 top list of artists, surprisingly, Jackson Wang was in the top 3 or 4, which his music is really great when he does like the 80s synth pop. However, he is not a rapper. He is just an artist, an entertainer that was placed in a group and was told, you're going to rap. And being the amazing entertainer that he is, he said, bet. And that's what he did. But he is not a rapper. And that's that on that.
Fully agreed. I think Jackson Wang is one of those people who is good at everything, like good enough to pass as whatever that thing is. It's not every day that you see someone that can go from being an Olympic fencer to be an idol and rap and dance and sing and do all the things. That I do think he makes really good music. And that song that he just dropped, which is, I think it's titled after his own name. I think it's called Jackson Wang, but his Chinese name. I actually really liked it. I thought it was a great song, musically produced, like the way that it was put together. And I think it was a really good song. And I found another one that I quite liked. So I do think he has really good taste. I think he's surrounded by really talented people at Team Wang that can take his music vision to the next level. But I don't think he's a rapper.
Yeah, like he can sometimes rap really well.
Yeah.
Like, he has that song with Rich Brian, which I was obsessed with
Titanic.
All of 2020. And it's good. He's rapping in it and it sounds right. It's in English, which isn't his first language, but it sounds like any other American person.
Right.
So it's not that he can't rap, it's just that he's just not a rapper. Moving on to Bam Bam. He's a great entertainer, but when you look at his solo work that he's put out since GOT7 left JYP, he's singing for most of the part. If he was truly a rapper, or like Jackson, he's put out rap by himself, so you could tell that there was some sort of affinity there. But Bam Bam, I don't see nothing. He's just singing.
When he dropped Who Are You, I lost my shit. Like I was like, who is this? Because it's so melancholic and ballady and original soundtrack, and with, I don't know how to pronounce her name properly, Solji, no idea. She's great, love her. She has a really nice voice and she was the perfect compliment to him in the song. But yeah, when I heard that, I was like, is this really skirt skirt? Like, I don't get it.
I've been telling Kathy, I'm like, Kathy, is this Bam Bam's music? Like, is this his color? Is this what he has always wanted to put out to the world and wasn't able to? Because for me, I was expecting some, like, a little bit ratchet, a little bit fuckboy, like a little bit like kind of like what Yogyum put out.
Right.
And when he put out Ribbon, I was like,
It didn't make
is
sense
this
at
you, Bam
all.
Bam?
Yeah.
Where's your skirt? Like, what?
No, and like you could tell now with the album, the mini album B, his collaboration credits, you
Mhm.
know, Elijah, like all these people writing really heartfelt kind of shit. I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm having a great time with this side of himself that he's showing us. But I'm also very surprised. It's not what I was expecting
Yeah.
of him. I do see when you were mentioning earlier the comparison to Post Malone, I see that more with Bam Bam. I see like that's where I really do see a parallel of like musical styles. And I wouldn't consider Post Malone a singer, but he talks a lot and he has he can carry a tune. So that's kind of where Bam Bam's musicality is landing for me right now. I do think he's gonna have some bangers at some point, probably for the summer he's saving it. But yeah, I do think he was, as most Korean idols say in interviews, trying to show us a different side of himself. And he really wanted to surprise us with his 2 albums back to back and just, you know, completely blow us out of the water.
Color me surprised. And now finally, we get to Mark Twain. Yeah, he's just an entertainer. He's not a rapper.
Mark is great on stage doing pirouettes and, you know, being part of the group and providing that swag and that connection with the American public. But the rap is not there for me.
Yeah. And even, and this is again just personal taste, even the solo stuff that he has put out hasn't really been to my taste too much.
Right.
Like, I think the work that all the other members have put out have been pretty good with like their own,
like authentic to themselves.
Yeah. With Mark, I think he's just still trying to figure out who he is as an artist.
I didn't connect to his songwriting, his lyrics, so can't speak too much to that, but we know he has like a really strong skill set that can be applied to other areas, but rapping is not one of them.
Agreed.
So now that we talked about a few groups, we're going to actually pile the next few because they are all from the same company. So SM Entertainment has been a hot topic of discussion between Laura and myself because we have come to realize that when they do their training and their scouting process, they don't really prioritize rapping. They are much more focused on looks and dancing and charisma of entertainers as a whole. And it doesn't feel like any of their groups has a really standout rapper that you would say this person, if they weren't in a group and they were doing their own thing, they would be a rapper. So
agreed. With that, we move on to EXO. So for EXO, personally, I don't think there's a rapper in EXO. And you're gonna say, but Laura, what about Chanyeol? I think he's a musician. I think he's an artist. I think he is a lyricist, but he's not a rapper to me. I know he can rap, but he's just not a rapper. Like the same thing, it's kind of similar to Jackson in that way. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more like Bangchan, because I think Chanyeol is a bit more of a producer than like Jackson, and you know, he can play different instruments and a musician, but he's just not a rapper to me personally.
Right. I haven't listened to EXO's music of their subunits as much. I know that like Chanyeol and Sehun dropped a collab and stuff like that. So I don't have a lot of background to comment here, but I'll just say that from the little that I've heard and from their group work, his rap just doesn't have an impact on me. It's good, it's fine. He can rap, not a rapper.
And with Kai, who I think is also a rapper in the group. He's not a rapper.
He's not a rapper.
Kai is first and foremost a dancer, a performer who can carry a tune because his singing voice, he's not Baekhyun. He can sing, but his voice is not very strong.
No.
He can't belt, I should say. So he's first and foremost an amazing, amazing dancer. And then he's also a very smart man because all of the solo work that he has put out has been tailored exactly for his voice. Absolutely perfect. And it has been singing, which again, not a rapper. I just really like his music.
We are obsessed with Kai and both of his mini albums that he put out solo. He really knows his capabilities, his range, and what he can deliver. And he has a vision, and you can see the storyline we've done throughout the album. You can see it's like Laura said, it's just right. It's tailor-made. It's perfect for him and him only. He's just not a rapper.
You should listen to his albums in order because that is the way that they were meant to be listened to.
100%. And watch the videos and all the performances that he does during the promo periods because they're all worth it. And it's just really beautiful to watch him enjoy, and the facial expressions that he makes. It's just truly chef's kiss when it comes to Kai and his work as a solo artist.
Moving on to SHINee, who I think has a special place in everybody's heart.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it's not because of the rapper.
I mean, it could be because of the rapper, just not the rapping.
Yes. And I think he personally knows this. Like,
yeah,
he's not a rapper. He's an idol. He's a performer. He's an actor because I think he's a great actor, but he's not a rapper. He's many things, but a rapper is not one of them.
Yeah, I think Mino I think what he is first and foremost is an actor. And I think because actors have such great ability to vocalize and diction and classes for how to speak and deliver their words, I think he can. It's debatable on the rapping because I don't think I've heard a single rap from any of his songs that I like. And we're obsessed with him. Absolutely beyond obsessed with everything that comes from him. Love him. Now that he's on the Now show, on the music show, the DJ Best Choice, living our best lives, watching him enjoy it and kind of be Maknae while Timin is out in, military enlistment. He's being the cute member, and he's just so good at everything. And his acting scenes are truly next level, but he's not a rapper.
Not even a little bit. And I think
he's not even an idol rapper. He's just rapping is in his CV and his like job description, but he's not a rapper.
Never. No. And then with our last group, our last SM group, we are honestly the most ignorant about this group, except for like a couple members.
Right.
We're talking about NCT. I personally wanted to talk about them because of two members, Taeyoung and Mark. I think, again, I barely know enough about it, but from what I have seen, I would consider them rappers. I know they write their own songs, and I know that Taeyeon can deliver literally anything. He can read off a menu, and I'm like, yes, yes, you are so good. He can deliver. He has the flow because he's writing his own stuff. And Mark too. Mark is in like a million groups. Like, man is talented. And from the little that I know, I think they are rappers. I just don't think they may be my cup of tea always. Kind of like I am. But I do think they're rappers. Again, SM has a group with 23 members. They had to land something in the rapper category. And luckily I think they did with Mark and Dave. Again, I don't know the rest of the members. I really haven't looked into them. 23 is a lot to remember.
Yeah.
I'm not that young anymore. It takes a lot. But with Mark and Taeyang, I think they're rappers.
Yeah, I think our brains aren't equipped to memorize that level of information anymore. With that said, I am even more ignorant than Lauda when it comes to NCT discography, whatever. What I do know is I like Super M a lot. And I think Mark and Taeyong deliver the rapping component of Super M fairly well.
I agree. And last but not least, we're out of the SM groups and we're moving on to our women rappers.
Yeah, because we know that you guys are probably like, these bitches never talk about women. And you're right. You're absolutely right to call us out on that. We've called ourselves out on that. We do follow and stan a good amount of women and some groups and mostly soloists.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that another day, but we'll just focus on a quick rundown of the rappers that come to mind for us right now. I'd like to start by saying that from the solo world, CL and Jessie can do anything. They are 100% amazing singers and 100% amazing rappers. They got that swag, they got that attitude, they got the bad bitch vibes, and they just can do no wrong. And I fully believe when they rap to me. CL's rap is, she just knows how to tell me to go fuck off, and I will. I captain, like, yes ma'am. I absolutely am obsessed with a lot of her last work. Spicy is so good, and I think musically she really knows her shit, and she's so multi-talented. She speaks English fluently, she speaks French fluently, she brings a lot of her language knowledge and that kind of, I don't know how, what do you call it, but just that versatility with languages. She uses it to her advantage with music, which a lot of idols and rappers and people in general try to do it, and it doesn't always work, but she makes it work. And with Jessie, she's just, what can you say about Jessie? She has vocals to like end an entire church. And she also has the bad bitch like attitude to shut it down and just like cuss you out in 2 seconds. So love her.
I don't really know about CL too much. What I have, the little that I have seen, I like her, but I can't really comment on her too much. I think Jessie has the three things that we've been mentioning. I think she has the content, the delivery, and the flow. And her singing voice is so soulful. I could listen to her all day because it has like that deep, like I don't know what it's called, but it's just so it's delicious.
Yeah.
And she can rap. She was in that show Pretty Unpretty Rap Star. Like she's proven herself countless of times in the 16 years that she's been in the industry that she can rap. She's a rapper.
Yeah. When she did her Dingo freestyle, I was wondering if she was gonna do Killing Verse or Killing Voice. And I'm glad that she did Killing Voice because she does have an incredible, like her pipes are just, out of this world. But she did showcase a lot of her rapping skills too. So anyway, love her. Then we have Blackpink. They are a super popular, probably one of the most popular worldwide girl groups. And they have two rappers. They have Lisa and they have Jennie. Lisa is like 100% full-time rapper. Jennie slips in and out of rapping and singing. I think they both can rap, but they're not rappers.
I agree. They have just a delivery for me. They're super talented though.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And the last group that we have to talk about is Mamamoo. We are huge fans of them. And so all four of the members have really great vocals. They really scouted for the best women singers in Korea and they got them all in one group. They assigned Moonbyul with a role of rapper because I think she had the best cadence and delivery out of the group. For me personally, I literally cannot decide or say for sure whether or not she's an idol rapper or a rapper in an idol group, especially because she just dropped her latest solo album. And I've been trying to listen to it to make up my mind and try to decide how I feel about it. I think I'm leaning towards idol rapper because I do think she has a beautiful voice and she does like showcasing it and singing it. She feels her singing quite a bit, but I'm not going to decide either way today.
Yeah. For me, at least from what I understand, they all came as singers And as is typical in an idol group, somebody needed to be a rapper.
Mhm.
And I think either they chose Moonbyul or she said, I can do it. And so I think she's first a singer, a lyricist,
Mhm.
and then a rapper. Like she can rap because she took it upon herself to not let other people write her lyrics. Like she took it upon herself to try to become the title that they gave her. She wanted to be involved from everything, as at least as what she understood a rapper should be. And
Mhm.
I think she's doing a great job. I think she achieved that. Like I don't think people that know about rap can, like, will listen to her raps and be like, oh no, that's whack. Like I
Yeah.
think she has pretty good bars. I just don't think she's a rapper because I think she would probably describe herself first as a singer and then a
Mhm.
rapper,
Yeah.
because singing was her first love. Not
Right.
to say rap didn't become a very strong like, or like her second love maybe,
Yeah.
but singing is her first love, at least
Yeah.
from what I've seen. I know she writes a lot of Mamamoo's work,
Mhm.
but again, it's just because I think she was given the role and she took it upon herself to not just stand idly by. So I think that's why she's neither not a rapper in an idol group or an idol rapper. She's just a singer who was given a position and she decided to do the best that she could. And she's doing great. She's definitely my bias record, Mama. I love her.
Yeah, I would say that too by myself. Yeah. Because my actual bias and the other half rapper in the group is Swasa. And I think her voice, she's a singer. This is not a
Yeah.
discussion. She's a idol who can rap, has this picarona, I don't know how to say that, but like sexy, spicy,
Sassy.
sassy approach, and she can deliver a few good zingers, bars here and
Mhm.
there. But yeah, she's definitely not a rapper.
Yeah, she's a singer. 100%.
Yeah.
She's been featured in rap songs
She
as a
has.
singer.
I think her, because her voice kind of like not like she's like Jessie's at all, but I think Kwasa has one of the most soulful
Mhm.
voices in all of K-pop. And I
Yeah.
think it she really has this great way of controlling her breathing to make her voice sound like it's literally coming from the moon.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I think it lends itself well to rap, and
Yeah.
it's a good complement to the hip hop tracks of
Yeah.
today.
It's like in Hula Hoops by DPR Live.
Yeah.
Her verse comes in like a
Like a
like
bath.
yeah, like when it's really really hot and then you get that like airecito, like
Like
that, like just
refreshing.
refreshing. It's unexpected but at the same time expected, and it fits perfectly. And the first time I listened to it I was like, the fuck is this? And then I was like, oh my god, why was I saying the fuck is this? Is perfect. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's just a singer. Very talented
Amazing.
singer, but she's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
singer. Yeah, for sure. And with that, this episode comes to an end.
Yeah. We hope you guys took some knowledge maybe, or are able to form your own opinions. If you have already formed those opinions, we would love to hear from you. Drop a comment on any of our socials, or if you watch the version of this podcast episode on YouTube, please feel free to leave your own opinions in the comments and let us know how you feel about rappers who are in idol groups or idol rappers. And maybe we didn't talk about a couple of groups because we don't know as much about them, and you want to let us know, so we're here for you.
Yeah, so as we say goodbye, thank you so much for listening, and I just want to stress again that this is just our opinions. We know nothing. We're just trying to have a good time and say what we like and what we don't like and what we think. So again, if your opinion isn't the same or the same, let us know. And I hope you enjoyed this episode the same that we did. Bye. I mean, dale.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the MIA2K podcast. We have lots of great content coming up ahead, so please don't forget to follow and subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you enjoyed our episodes, please rate us 5 stars.
And for the real-time tea, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook by searching for @MIA2K Podcast. Dale, bye.